Welcome to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs, the podcast that dives deep into the stories of trailblazers who shape our world. Richard Krammes is a veteran hairstylist, wig designer, and educator with over 35 years of experience shaping character and story through hair. Originally from the East Coast, his career has taken him across the U.S. before settling in Colorado, where he's become known for blending technical mastery with bold artistic vision. His recent wig design credits include Elizabeth I, in her own words, A Midsummer Night's Dream and The Taming at DU Theater, Truth Be Told at Curious Theater and the Royale at BETC, along with productions like Mamma Mia, The Diary of Anne Frank, and Plaza Suite at the Banff Centre. His designs have graced stages at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, Colorado Shakespeare Festival, Galleria Theater, DU Theater, CU Theater, Banff Centre, and Colorado Ballet, among others. In addition to his design work, Richard teaches hairstyling at Boulder TEC and is a respected voice in professional education. From 2008 to 2018, he toured nationally as an Aquage Salon Quest artist educator, sharing advanced cutting, styling, and product techniques at major shows and conventions. In 2007, he was named Educator of the Year by the Rocky Mountain Beauty Industry. His work has been featured in Beauty Span, Modern Salon, and other national platforms. Whether designing for the stage or the salon, Richard's work consistently celebrates craftsmanship, creativity, and the power of hair to tell a story. Please welcome to the conversation a true master of hair design, Richard Krammes.
Welcome to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. And today's guest, oh my God, I met him years ago at Aquage with my good friend Luis Alvarez and Anne Bray. And he was teaching, and that's when I first met Richard. And then I think we did a class together in 2020, because that's when we, during the pandemic, it was in March. So in January of 2020 is when I saw you again. We took a Sharon Blaine class, I think.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So welcome, Richard.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to start with the first question. You know, what we like to do is find out more about the person that we're interviewing. And can you tell the audience when you first started doing hair? And besides that, can you also tell the audience, not only when you start doing hair, but when you decided that you love doing wigs?
So memories of going to a hair salon of the 60s. My sister and I sometimes would have to go with our mom, and we both hated it. We hated going there. The place was like, thinking back of what it looked like, it was super cool, you know, the blue crushed velvet carpet and the kind of faux 60s Louis the 16th and the chandelier and the bubblehead, you know, dryers. I mean, it was super cool. But I had, you know, at that age, no, not at all. It was when I was in high school, the gal that was cutting my hair, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I thought about going to art school, but I was afraid of coming out on the other side and, you know, being an unemployed artist. Mm-hmm. And the gal that was cutting my hair said, have you ever considered this industry? And I was like, well, no, I haven't. And so I spent a couple days in their salon watching what they were doing, and I was like, huh. And then I went to a barber school and just visited the school for a day, and I thought to myself, you know, I think I can do something with this. I don't know what I can do with it, but I think I can do something with this. Mm-hmm. So I went to barber school first, and you had to do a journeyman's license and then a master barber's license. And you know, the barbering now is so cool. The barbering of then was a different concept than what barbers do now. They don't even look the same. You know, now they have beards down to here. This super cool thing to be, and the fades they're doing and the designs, it's just so different than what it was then. And I didn't know ladies' hairdressing, all of the setting and design and the chemicals and the color work. So then I went back and did the full Cosmo. And then wanted to move away from the East Coast, and I moved to Colorado, and that was after working in DC and working in salons, and got into teaching in Colorado. Been teaching and doing salon work for years. But when I was working in DC, a gal that I worked with, she was the wig artisan for Arena Stage in DC. It's one of the leading repertory theater companies. And they were doing a production of the Marx Brothers, The Coconuts. The Marx Brothers, all their movies were plays first. And she called me up and she said, "Do you know how to do finger waves?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "Well, we're doing this production and I don't know how to do them. Can you come down here and help me?" So I was like, "Sure." So I went down there and she took me into this room. All these lace-fronted wigs were blocked on these blocks. And I was like, my God, like it was just another realm of our industry that I had not physically been in or seen. And so I helped her wave these wigs and explained to her how it was done, and I was like, somehow, somewhere, I need to find a way into it. I may not be ready for it yet, but I need to find a way into it. So it was when after I was in Colorado for a couple of years, I started out in local community theater, volunteering my time, and it progressed from there, eventually doing an internship with the Colorado Shakespeare Fest, then going to Canada to the Banff Centre of the Arts, where I lived there for a month and studied under a wig master, Carol Chambers, from the UK, and learned how to build anything hair that we would need for production, for the head, for the face, for the body, period hair dressings, and a little bit of stage makeup. I learned there. Got my first professional gig. That was a part-time gig down at Banff Centre, working on a production of Always Patsy Cline. At the time, it was the longest-running cabaret show in Denver history at the time. And I would go in every week and do those wigs. And then I got hired as a full-time wig artisan with Banff Centre Theater Company, which was still in the same complex. And the first production that I worked on was an international collaboration with the Royal Shakespeare Company and a Greek designer and a Japanese lighting designer. Sir Peter Hall was the director. His son also directed. John Barton was the playwright. It took him almost 20 years to write Tantalus. It was a 10.5-hour Greek trilogy, and you saw it in installments. It was one of, at the time, most expensive theater productions ever produced. We had like 75 wigs, masks, tons of body makeup, tons of blood because there were battles and people being sacrificed. It was fantastic, and it was part US and part UK actors that were in the production. It was immense. It was immense. So talk about trial by fire. That was when you're thrown into a room, and there's a half-naked actor standing on a tarp that you have to, body paint and throw blood on them. Many quick changes with wigs. It was wild.
Yeah.
Really wild.
You've done so much. I mean, you started in barbering, on cosmetology, educators still doing educating in your local area and through your community. Obviously, theater, wigs. Was there a certain moment now that you have what we'd say a fully developed career where you just sort of wanted to pinch yourself and said, my God, I'm actually doing this? This is my life?
There have been a number of moments like that when you look back at where you started and then never had a clue. Like some people have this very definite plan. Point A, point B, point C. And I pursued things I was interested in, but never really knew how it was all going to. And there have been many things like that along the way. I never knew that I was going to work for a manufacturer. The offer came. I was initially hesitant at first and then decided that I would just go for it, and it led to 11 years of amazing education and stage work and video work. It was mentoring. It was incredible. Theater work Building wigs for productions has been a progressive ride. I've been offered productions that I'm thankful and things that I've done that have led to something else. Example right now, work down at Denver University with their theater department connected me with a director, Sabin Epstein, who is the director of a production that currently is in and out of town that I'm working on, called Elizabeth I in Her Own Words. It is a one-woman show about Elizabeth I of England, taken from her reflections on her last year of life, reflecting on her reign. It's very cool. And we got a grant from CU, where she is also an educator. Her name is Tammy Meneghini Stalker, and she's the actress. And so we got a grant from CU for me to build a new wig, which this is the beginning of behind me. So we have a hand-built foundation. It's all done by hand.
Yeah.
This is her head measurements and her hairline. So it's kind of like upholstering a head. Mm-hmm. And so we've got the foundation almost done here, and I'm waiting for the rest of the hair to come in, because as soon as this is done, I start hand knotting all of the hair into this wig and get it completed. We have a wig we've been using from stock, but we'll be happy to have this new one when it's done.
Certainly.
So, Richard, can you tell the audience, how do you make a wig head? You know, that one that you're showing us right now is, you know, you took the measurements of the person that you're dealing with, you're going to do the show with. Yeah. And, but what's the actual base? Is it the front, is it lace front?
So in Elizabethan times, there were no lace-fronted wigs. The wigs in Elizabethan times, there was some type of a cap, but they were all wefted and tracts of hair. And that was, the wefts were all made by hand, which yes, I can do. That is a very time-consuming, on a weaving loom, weaving the hair, very time-consuming process. So we have laces. We have nets that we work with. There are many different kinds. This is a vegetable net, they call it. There's also a caul net, which looks more like a hair net.
Yeah.
And then there are different types of laces. Some types of laces are good for foundation work. Other types of laces are good for lace fronts, which normally is what I do. But this production, no, because we're trying to work a little more historical. So that would be a hard-fronted wig. And for this actress to be out on the road periodically doing a lace front, A, it would not be historical, and B, that would be a lot of work for her to have to maintain, cleaning the lace all the time, reblocking it to keep the shape. So we'll be adding watch spring in here to make it conform to the head a little more. It has to be very sturdy. And then when you think about Elizabethan hairstyles, you know, there's a lot of padding in there. There'll be a lot of weight to this. So you can't have her out on the road with a lace fronted piece.
Right.
So this will be a kind of a modified hard fronted wig foundation when we're done. So yeah, you're taking measurements of the head. You have to put their head into a wig cap, because that's how it will be under the wig. So there's that whole head prep. Then you lay cellophane over the head and you tape it down with clear tape. You make an entire impression of the head. And you do all the measurements and you record all the measurements. And then when you take the cellophane cap off, now you have a mirror image of what you're doing. You find the appropriate block size based on their circumference measurement, and then everyone's head is different, as we know in hairstyling. No two heads are the same.
Correct.
So blocks have to be padded out to get the actual shape. So there's padding under here. There are wooden blocks that we can also work on. For this, since I'm doing a hard front, I decided to go with a standard canvas block. Wooden blocks are becoming more and more scarce. None of them are made in the U.S. now. None of them are. Sadly, they're all made in Europe mostly.
And there's so much in wig making, also in making hair pieces. So you're learning how to actually do wigs for productions, where I have done wigs, not necessarily wigs, but pieces, like Sharon Blaine had showed us. So it's totally different than wig making, isn't it?
It is, because the pieces you're making for runway shows or for photography, and a lot of her stuff is for photography, it's for that one moment. And
Right.
I've done pieces like that. If it was salvageable and I could save it, then it's packed away in my garage. Otherwise, it goes away.
Right.
But yeah, it's for that
Right.
that type of peacemaking. Which is
Wow.
a whole nother, as we know, a whole nother art in its and craft in itself.
Yeah.
I think it might be surprising, but we have a very diverse audience. You would naturally assume that Lulu and I, having joined the professional beauty industry when we were each like 10, been here forever, but we get a lot of people, again, artists, icons, and entrepreneurs. And so as I'm listening to everything that you're saying, I'm wondering, just for clarification for the audience, there's what I would call beauty hair. It's what you do in the salon or even for certain types of shows in education. But then there's really production show. And they have two totally different sets of challenges.
Yep.
Do you want to know what I'm saying? I mean, I think a lot of people who aren't in the industry would be surprised at the things that you have to think about other than just the hair, if you know where I'm going with this.
In the salon, of course, it's all about our client. We are trying to make the client happy. And we're doing trends of now, of contemporary now, male and female, and everything that comes with that. In production work, you are working with a director, you're working with a costume designer. If you are the wig maker, wig master, wig designer, then it's you, but you might be working under a wig master, so you're part of that team. So it's very collaborative. And even the performer has some say in that, of course. Like with Elizabeth I, that's Tammy's production, so I'm working with her and the director to make sure that, this is the piece they want. There was a lot of conversation about hair color and where we wanted to go with that before I ordered hair. At DU, when I'm doing productions down there, I work directly with the costume professor, Janice Benning Lasik, down there. So it's always collaborative, whereas in the salon, it's you and the client. Production work, you have a team of people, there's production meetings, there's a whole process to it, and what's going to be needed to tell that story for those characters in that story.
Yeah. And I also think a small point, but in a salon, the client comes to you and it's a controlled environment.
Yeah.
When you are working in theater or film or whatever, there's all of these other things because you have to work in the environment.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Yes. Very much so. Like when you're doing fittings, the costume designer will definitely, be in there and be a part of that fitting. The performer's there. So that's a somewhat controlled environment. If you're running the production, meaning you're there every single night to, put the wigs on, get them off, maintain them, do the quick changes. If there's a makeup thing that has to be done, there's a standard half hour call before every performance, and the actors know they have time slots when they're supposed to come in there, so you have just that moment to prepare them, and then they go out and the next one comes in. It's fast.
Yeah, and the temperature of the rooms that we don't always get to control, and the electrical hookups oftentimes are not designed for people who have to work with appliances. It's the strangest thing.
Right.
So, can you tell our audience, that you have worked in different places, such as DCPA, and can you tell us what that is? And then the Colorado's Shakespeare Fest and the Colorado Ballet. So can you elaborate the places that you work and, the wig success stories that came out of that?
So DCPA is Denver Center for the Performing Arts. It's
Okay.
a huge entity in Colorado. Under one huge atrium umbrella, you have Denver Center Theater Company, you have the Garner Galleria Cabaret Theater, you have Colorado Ballet and Opera Colorado that work out of the LA Calkins Opera House, and it's a very busy place. Very busy place. Denver Center Theater Company has their own set of shops across the street and a whole nother amazing world over there, and I tour my students through that every year. Mm-hmm. The only one who is allowed to tour students through the wig shop there, because
Wow.
I worked under the wig master, Diana Ben-Kiki, who's still down there, amazing wig maker, and was really thankful that my students could get a concept of what that is like. So you are working for a lot of avenues down there. They're all separate companies, but they're all under, that one DCPA umbrella. For 4 years, I worked full-time for Denver Center Theater Company. They used to have the National Theater Conservatory, which was a graduate program. I did a couple of rounds with them. I was 4 years at the Garner Galleria, working on 2 different productions, and then they revived one, so I came back again for another 6 months. I did Dracula with Colorado Ballet, which was amazing. So altogether with DCPA, I was down there a good 10, 11 years between full-time and part-time. It'll always feel a little bit like home, but it led to so many things, meeting different directors, and people in production, doing work for CU, which led to me doing work for DU. And then there are smaller theaters in the metro area, a smaller repertory company over at our Banff Centre, and I've done work over there that was fantastic, which also led to more work. So I've been very thankful that one thread leads to another.
To another.
That's pretty much how it is in this industry. It's a lot of the people you meet and that you connect with.
I like to say all roads lead back to Lulu.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You just ooze creativity. And I know that part of the wig making has to be, again, that it allows you to work at a very technical but also a very creative level. So I'm just kind of interested in like the different things that you've done. From 2008 to 2018, you were traveling nationally with Osh, which is as the Salon Quest director. What did the road teach you about the industry that has helped prepare you for the growth in the rest of your career?
Hands down, quoting from Luis Alvarez himself, success happens when preparation and opportunity meet. We always had to be ready. You never knew what was going to get thrown at you. You always had to be ready. You always had to practice. I have mannequins up there still. Always had to practice. I learned with Luis to always have a rake comb because you never knew when he was going to bust out a photo shoot. And just to always be ready. I never took that for granted. That quote I have always extended to my students. being flexible, because you never really knew what was going to be asked of you. You could be working at the booth doing sales. You could be helping prep models backstage. You could be on stage. You could be doing all three of those things. You could be asked to go help one of their accounts drag a huge pallet of product from some shipping area because there was no one else to do it. You could be flying to former headquarters in Chagrin Falls to be part of a video production, or you could be asked to be in front of the Denver Art Museum at 4 a.m. waiting for the sun to come up so you could be part of a photo shoot with Anne Bray. You know, it was any one of those things, and I'm so thankful that I got to be a part of it. Always be ready. Be on your game. Always be ready.
You know, which takes me back about being ready. Sue and I have been fortunate to work for different manufacturers, but back in the 80s, I guess, 1980s, which was a long time ago. Anyway, we went to London, and I don't know why. Every night we had gone to a theater to see Starlight Express, Cats, Phantom of the Opera, Evita. I mean, back then, you know, we were so young. I personally did not realize that's where it all happened. Plus, we had a cat, so you probably know which one he was, came to our conference and gave us a class on impromptu. Yeah. So we walk into this class. We had breakout class at our conference in London, everywhere we went. Anyway, so there was no chairs. There was this guy sitting on the floor. He was a freaking cat, but he wasn't in his cat outfit. Yeah. He just sat very straight, and we're going, where the chairs are.
Yeah.
Where are the chairs? Anyway, we found out who he was, and I had, an experience with him where him and I and then two other people, George Spear and Anime, we all did an impromptu. So he set us up a scenario of we were in a grocery store. I can't remember what it was, but because we taught on stage and we had different designers all over the United States, we never worked with some of these designers, so we had to impromptu. So we had a script of what we had to do, but because we work with different designers from different parts of the United States or wherever, we had to impromptu work it on stage. So anyway, he showed us that, and then each night we went to see him perform at Cats. It was just wonderful. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I get excited doing this podcast because I think part of why Lulu and I wanted to do this, we want people to understand the height, the breadth, the width of this thing we call the professional beauty industry. And so many people are just amazed. And where do you find these people? How did you know? When you're in the industry, not just of the industry, but you are truly immersed in the industry, this all just seems very normal, doesn't it?
Very much so, but you always get that reaction. The average person thinks we go to school, we get our license, we go to the salon, which we know is a lot of work just for that, but that's it. That it's just that. And then you work in that salon until you retire. They don't know all of the scope and facets of things that are done within our industry. Mm-hmm. It could take you into so many different directions. Again, the many directions that it has taken me that I never knew that it would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they start, trying to understand some of that, they're like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Oh, so when working with students, like with platforms like this, trying to expose them to everything I could with during the 2 years that I would have them in my program, so they
Right.
could see that, you can do this and you can do that. And you don't have
Right.
to do just the one thing,
Right.
unless you want to.
Right.
Well, and I do think, in my opinion, I owned a school and I had 9 salons. Of course, this is a zillion years ago. I started in the beauty industry with wigs and bleaching and hair pieces. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. But I also think that sometimes creative people get so overwhelmed by designing hair, cutting hair, coloring hair, texturizing hair, customer service, retail, whatever, and they think that they have to do it all at once. And my personal advice has always been, learn how to do one thing, learn how to do it well, learn how to do it fast, and learn how to charge for it. And when you do that, you build on it. And, I'm laughing. I'm looking at Lulu. For gosh sakes, every other week, well, I'm going to a class. I'm going to a class. In the business 50 years, she's still going to a class. But somebody who's been out of the industry 2 years thinks that they know everything there is to know about everything. No, but be good at what you say you're good at.
Right.
And
Right.
then the creativity can take you so many places.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All of this has definitely been something I've built over time. I didn't get into doing wigs and learning how to build wigs until I was in my 30s. I would not have been ready for it prior to that.
Yeah.
Teaching came, the beginnings of it, in my very late 80s, and then there was building that. In Colorado, you have 2 different pathways for teaching and 2 different licensings. I teach in secondary, which at the age of 50 required me to go back to college, get the appropriate teaching credential for that.
Yeah.
And doing it online even, I'm like, what? So, and so everything has been progressive and a learning experience and continuing education, because if I'm feeding students, I have to feed me to feed them. I was at Premier Anaheim last February, as a matter of fact, and it was it's just such a reflection of our industry, all of these things. It was wall-to-wall hair extensions, the primary focus at that show, hair extensions, color, and barbers. Boom, boom, boom.
Correct.
And and then, there was continuing it up there. So it,
Yeah. Yeah.
got a little emotional.
Right.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Knowing that I would be heading into my last year of teaching hairstyling in the classroom. But yeah, things happening in stages when we're ready to do them, and yes, perfecting that one thing before
Right.
we move on to the next. Yeah.
So, Richard, can you name one thing that you want your students to understand about this profession, about artistry, and how to build a career that lasts forever? All right,
Show
well,
up.
not forever, but for a long time.
Show up. You have to show up and be ready. Look the
Show up
part,
and be ready.
have the skill set, and show up. Which for us, we know if they say 9 o'clock, we're there at 8:30 at least.
I'm never late. And when I'm late, I just somebody's made me late. But I always show up.
My mentor, Robert Varwick, which is now, I'm going back to early 70s, used to quote Woody Allen and used to say 95% of success is showing up. Show up,
Yeah.
And I think it's harder today. When you say show up to our age group, it used to mean you signed up for class, you traveled, you were there on time, you introduced yourself to people, you soaked up all the information, you engaged with this new, and then you were bound and determined to take it back to the salon and make it successful. Our post-COVID world, showing up means something different. And I think this is an interesting thing that we're all trying to figure out, the entire industry, of exactly what does that mean. Yeah.
Definitely different for a lot of people. My kids are the Gen Alphas. They're the Gen Z and Gen Alphas. One thing that I love about them is they want to work for themselves. They want to bring back the entrepreneurship. They want their own business. They don't want to have to necessarily work, for someone else specifically. They don't want to work so much for corporations. And some of them are very focused. Like they have a plan and they're going there. And then some of them, they still don't know. They have trouble showing up for their part-time jobs.
You're right.
They have trouble functioning in an internship properly. And those are the kids that are, they're going to have to take a long look in the mirror and ask themselves some various questions if they're going to, move further into our industry.
Right.
But my ones that want it, they're so on target, and I'm so very proud of them because they're already creating what they want, and the ones I've stayed in contact with are just doing phenomenally. They're their own business owners, and I've had some win some color awards. One student that graduated just 2 years ago just completed Sassoon ABC in London, and it's just made sparks go off for her.
That's great.
It is a different mindset, and it is a different world.
Definitely.
Well, we have a thing that our audience loves. We call it rapid fire. And basically, we come up with 5 questions, just boom. And I always say the reason the audience likes it is because it's a little way for us to pull back the curtain and let them see a little bit more about the person rather than just the career or the industry. So would you be willing to play along with us?
Sure, let's play.
Hey, I can wait for the first question. So, what is your favorite era of hair inspiration? In other words, Victorian, 20s, 60s? Do you have a particular
40s.
40s?
1940s, hands down. People were so groomed. Man didn't go out of the house unless he was working in a factory. He didn't go out of the house without a suit on. And a hat. Ladies too, and gloves and all of that. The shapes of the hair for women and also for men. I love that period, and whenever I'm watching old films, I'm always trying to get a closer look at how all the hair was styled. Bugs me so bad when I'm watching either a series or a film where they're just trying to riff on the time period. They're not actually reproducing it. It's frustrating, and I see it. Not all that well. It just depends on what you're watching. But it was such a very stylized time period. There were so many cool shapes, and all hand done, as we know.
Yeah.
You weren't blow drying and
Yeah. It was
all hands
fabulous.
set.
Yeah. That would be high on my list as well. Your go-to wig save tool for backstage.
Can't do it without a rat tail comb and hairpins. We use long hairpins for a lot of different things backstage. Not just for securing, but in a pinch we can use them for styling. It's the rat tail comb and the long hairpins. I have to have those.
For years, people who went to my school and worked for me thought they were called Anne Bray pins. I said, well, That's an actual person. Okay, most challenging wig moment where you've had to solve a problem, like, one sentence story here.
42-second wig change in Tantalus. 42 seconds. She came
40
off stage as Hermione, so they had her in this really pretty dress that went way out, and shoes and stockings and gloves, hat and this wig, and they were all masked because it was Greek theater, and the masks were all mic. Came off as that, literally stood there as everything broke away. There were 2 wardrobe, 1 wig, and 1 sound person would descend on this gal. Everything broke away, and then we had to put her back together as Cassandra, who was dressed like a warrior and was a prophetess. We had 42 seconds. We only got 3 times to rehearse it. So every night before that would be done live, and she literally would just step off stage, break away in the one, and step into the other. I would hold my breath.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I'd be
nerve-wracking.
incense, have rosary beads going, doing Tibetan,
Everything.
there is not enough power to make that work right every night.
Like, how do we do this? We just
You did it.
3 times to rehearse it, and boom, 42 seconds.
Amazing. One product that you always keep stocked, no matter what.
That's going to be, and I'll hope and pray that some remnant of it will always be out there, is a Quaj detailing cream.
Sure. Excellent product. Excellent.
Well, I mean, I love it for styling purposes, but I especially love it for wigs. The hair is always, no matter where you get it from, it's always a bit dehydrated. And even in styling, you're trying to bring a little hydration back to the hair so it's not quite so flat on stage unless it needs to be flat. And that's just a go-to hairstyling product.
Yeah. Fabulous. If you weren't doing hair and wigs, or even, say, in the professional beauty industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
Sculpting.
That makes perfect sense to me. It really does.
And I hope to stick my toe in a little of that. Sculpting in clay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I follow a sculptor from Italy on Instagram. His last name is Lagares. He just takes a slab of clay, he starts pushing it, and he creates this whole... He's amazing.
It's interesting. I see a thread there, just how you described the sculpture, and then you were talking about hair from the face and the silhouette, and then of course your theatrical wigs, and then teaching hair design. It's very obvious that silhouette speaks to you in a different way. That's so cool. Very cool.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah. Well,
So, Richard.
I was just going to do a commercial message.
Go ahead.
I have a little company. It's called Evolve Hair Solutions, and we make volumizers and pieces that women can wear for 30 to 45 days at a time, and we make toppers and extensions. We only deal with certified high-end salons, but I would invite you to go to our
Website.
website, and if there's anything I can ever do to collaborate or help you or to provide anything you might need, it would be lovely not to lose touch, Richard. And we so need people like you in our industry. I'm just so excited.
Hair replacement alone is and even more and more is becoming a huge player in our industry.
It's exploding. Ever since COVID, it's just,
Yeah, definitely. So, Richard, can you tell us where the audience can find you?
So I'm on Instagram. That's always going to be my main professional page at Richard Wighead.
Richard Wighead, yeah.
Richard Wighead.
Good. Well, you have so much information, and we definitely enjoy speaking with you, interviewing you. On behalf of artists, icons, and entrepreneurs, thank you so much, Richard, for coming on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It.
Greatly appreciate it.
It was delightful.
So until next time, we'll see you on the road, okay? Bye-bye.
Wow, what an episode. That wraps up another exciting edition of Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're leaving inspired and ready to chase your dreams. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode over at youtube.com/artists, icons, entrepreneurs, as well as Facebook at Lulu Benavides, on IG at Lulu Benavides, at Evolve Hair Solutions as well. And don't forget to visit our website at lulubenavides.com and evolvehairsolutions.com to stay updated. Until next time, keep dreaming big, creating boldly, and making your mark on the world. Thanks for listening, and take care, everyone.